Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso at thewatchbox.com, your purchase and pricing email line for your questions about this or any watch you see here on Watchbox Reviews, tmosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing. And today, we're discussing a 2004 launch that expanded the Jaeger LeCoultre Master Compressor sports watch line to include a robust dual time with a modern caliber. This is the Master Compressor Dualmatic, 41.5 millimeters in stainless steel. The watch measures 13.7 millimeters thick, and from lug to lug across the wrist, 49.8 millimeters with a 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We'll throw it on my wrist real quick, get a sense of its fit, its feel, its sizing, and its proportion. My 16 centimeter circumference wrist wears it easily. As you can see, it's not just the distance across the wrist, but the shape of the lugs, which are tightly curved, and they duck down and around your wrist rather than flaring out. So if you are that 13.5, 14 centimeter circumference wrist that's borderline for this watch is probably going to wear and look proper on your wrist. It's comfortable, and you can even see it's quite low. As it sits low, it ducks down. The case back is cupped, so it rides lower than its nominal thickness and easily slides underneath even dress cuffs. Now, the timepiece includes a strap that helped to set the pace during the 2000s. These JLC double-stitched straps were highly they were influential in their day and also very intricate in their assembly, as there's double stitching, there's large rectangular scale gaiters, semi-gloss black sheer-sided construction, a different calf skin on the underside, and you can see this a brand new factory strap. You will be the first to gouge it, and you will do so with this, a single fold deployant clasp, media blasted or sandblasted inside, with the rest of the finish all in high polish. It's your security against dropping while donning or removing at bedside. This case was used on everything from the Grand Memovox High Horology Perpetual Calendar alarm to the minute repeater to the Master Compressor series of sports watches, and while the size of the case changed, the proportions and the details never did. All of high polish, sheer sides, a rounded and tapered set of rather thin lugs with a little bit of a transitional bevel on the flank, a stepped up conical bezel, and then if we roll over to the compressor crowns, you can see how these worked. These were original and innovative. By JLC, the idea was to create a system that would give you the same water resistance as a screw down crown, but be easier to manipulate with wet, sweaty, or gloved hands and require less motion and effort. As a result, white you're tight, red you're dead. Red meaning now we can pull the crown out and we can actuate its setting functions, and in this instance we're talking about the internal rotating dive style bezel, which you can line up with the minute hand, and now you've got an impromptu chronograph, as it's easier to read a dive bezel than it is to read a chronograph minute subregister in most cases. Again, one half turn, unlock, one half turn, relock. Now I can set the time, and this is a true dual time watch. As you can see, I have a second hour hand, which is a little skeleton hour. And when I don't need it, as with the Patek Aquanaut travel time or Calatrava travel time, I can hide it underneath my primary to clean up the dial. You'll also note that there is a 24-hour register that is keyed to the central time, so you can actually get a distinction. Or am I looking, for example, at 9 a.m. or 9 p.m.? In other words, 9 p.m. just prior to the date change. While I'm looking at 9 p.m., you can see that because it's pointing to 21 right there. So that's my AM-PM distinction. Folks ask, why the aperture down at 5 o'clock? Because it's cool. No other reason. The designer who penned these watches had a little bit of a quirk fest trait to her design work, and she liked to take historical notation. That is, she's referencing the Polaris 68 in the font as well as the numerals, but she was also, shall we say, more distinctly French than German in her Swiss sensibilities, and this watch is certainly after that tradition, a little bit flamboyant. You have a combination of white and red and black, so she's staying true to the original tritone design cues that we saw in many 20th century sports watches. And then underneath the case back, beneath a rich rose gold medallion signifying the watch has passed the Master 1000 hours control, 100 meters water resistant, and this features the caliber 972. It's based on the Auto Tractor 975, which was a JLC sports watch movement launched in the early 2000s in response to IWC's mixed results using the dress watch 889 as a sports watch movement during the 90s. So JLC designed a Rolex-like movement featuring a free-sprung balance and a full balance bridge with shock resistance, those two features making it a very shock-tolerant watch. And then the hairspring, which was designed by JLC but built by Longa, is laser welded at the stud and the collet for further impact resistance. Unidirectional automatic winding with ceramic bearings made it low maintenance as well as very efficient at winding. 48-hour power reserve, 28,800 vibrations per hour, stop seconds with the dual time capability. The 29 jewel movement was adjusted in 5 positions specifications at the factory. And again, it went through the Master 1000 Hours Control, which, as you can see, is 1,000 hours of testing, water resistance, winding, power reserve, chronometry, and overall durability. It was one of the first in-house tests to surpass the COSC, and of course it is a full watch test. Note the combination of polish and media blasting for that rose gold medallion. Even though this is a steel watch, the Dualmatic features substantial precious metal, both on the winding rotor and on the caseback. A timepiece that puts it all together, and a fun travel watch for your adventures, whether you're simply an armchair adventurer or you are going out and about, up and abroad. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. And we're back with the Master Compressor Dualmatic. Here you can see designer Magali Maitre's Polaris 68 inspiration more clearly.